to Big Me scene. Great. Okay, Big Me scene. Oh, yes, Deluxe Tux, you're gonna try to make Happy Crimson Tuesday a thing? You're gonna try to make it work? I'm here for you. Okay. Happy Crimson Tuesday, everybody. That would. There's no day of the week that starts with C, and I should have thought of that when I was naming the game, but next time. Next time. Okay, so developer update. I am working on chapter 4 still. I'm working on the second section of chapter 2 of 3 sections, and I'm working on assets right now. And that's part of the reason why I've got this Aseprite animation of climbing a ladder that I'll show in a little bit, because I'm at that point in section 2 of 3, chapter 4, where I'm starting to work on assets again. So that's where that is. Let's see all the spoilers. Yeah, Nancy climbing up that ladder is probably not a spoiler. I also was working on some double doors for the carriage house that open and close. Again, it's not really story based, so I don't mind telling you guys. But of course, yes, ladders are confirmed, Slat Studio. Definitely. You can climb up, you can climb down. I'm deciding still if you can walk off the edge and die. I might do that. I know you guys like that kind of thing, so I might. Okay, so that's all for developer update. I got nothing else. Skeevy Wonder, hello, welcome to stream. Yeah, Deluxe Tux double doors. Am I trying to show up Grundislav on his single doors? I have to say that the double doors, they took such a long time because they're kind of at an angle, so you can't just double them up and flip them because they're not like this. They're like this. So they're completely different the way they open and swing. So it took me an unreasonably amount of time to finish them, and I stayed up unreasonably late to do it, but they're done. And the sad thing is I don't even know if they look great as they are because they might obscure some of the stuff that happens behind them, but we'll see. I'll try to make it work. Cursed perspective, yeah, it's. I had to do them twice. I did one with usually when I have outbuildings, I'll have the door dithered so that you can it's a tonal dither. But with the double doors, it covered so much space in the carriage house that you couldn't see what was going on in the carriage house, so I just made them black outlines. It's not a big deal. But yeah, Grindelwald has the swingy double doors for Roy, but the saloon doors are full frontal, like centered like this, so they kind of swing open symmetrically. And when they're off at an angle like this, if they were, then he would have to do them separately, which is a big bummer. And he was smart to do it the way he did it. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is, that was a really quick developer update. Here's a cross-stitch update. So I'm working on second Nancy version 2.0. Neither of these have the perfect color combos that I'm going for. That's the lighter one, and that's the darker one. Oh my gosh. I feel like the darker one's a bit too dark. But some of the colors I'm still working on, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm getting a fair amount of work done on those. I can't try all the colors yet because Nancy, her speech portrait actually is missing, I think, a few colors. It's actually missing the dark purple and the dark ultramarine blue is what it's missing. So I can't really color test for everything, so I'm going to have to pick another speech portrait to really figure that stuff out. Oh, whoops. Oh, you like the darker one, Slot Studio? Well, one of them has a darker dark red, and then the darker skin tone, like the orangey coral thing. I just feel like it doesn't stand out like enough for me. I think that if you look at the Nancy avatar or the emoji, you'll see that her skin is not as saturated as you might expect. Okay, I'm just gonna catch up a little bit. Hey Z Zerful, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, it's a matter of not just getting the color accurate to screen as close as possible, but it has to work with all the other colors. And I do suspect that the cyan and the magenta are going to give me the most trouble. Okay, yes, triple doors for Rosewater are incoming, Dave, or he's just going to up me. Absolutely. Yeah, HC Willett, yeah, I'm using Adventure Game Studio, yeah. So yeah, it's got a great set of tutorials. I don't know what your level of programming is. Mine was basically almost zero. I had done a little bit, so it's not really. It was probably, I don't know what the levels are, 2 maybe out of 10. But I found it good, and the actually what's really good is the Adventure Game Studio community is really active. So if you have any technical questions, you could search the forums, and if you don't find any good answers, then you can post in the forums. And I've gotten really good feedback and good advice that way. So really like it. Oh, Sled Studio, you like both versions of the portrait? Good, I'm glad. Yeah, the webcam is not good. It is 0.75 megapixel, I think. So it's not going to do. And the lighting is awful as usual. Okay, your level is 0 like me. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's what's really good is what I did that really helped me was there is a set of YouTube Adventure Game Studio tutorials by someone called Densming, and I'm gonna just put his name in here. You can find AGS Densming, and if he goes step by step of how to do some of the real basic stuff, and so that was one of the first things I did, and it really helped me out from knowing basically nothing. So we have that. Oh yeah, so another thing before I get really started is Jim plays games. Good to see you. Is there anything particularly limiting about Adventure Game Studio? Some features you wish it had? I don't think I have the technical expertise to really bring it to its limits. I always assume if there's something I can't do, it's my fault because I lack the programming expertise. But I will say that doing a text parser game, I have a lot of nested if else statements, and I've come across the limitation that AGS has on those nested statements quite a few times. I do have a workaround for it, so it's not really a problem. But my first stumbling block when I was programming the text parser was, yeah, I had come up, I forget how many nested if else statements you can have, but yeah, it stopped running. And I couldn't figure out why. When I did, I asked the forums and they said, yeah, it's just a limit, so you kind of have to work around it. And they did give me some really good advice on how to work around that. So I was able to, although I'm sure if I was a better programmer, I would not even have come across that limit particularly. Yeah, H.C. Willard. Yeah, it's a matter of, yeah, like what you're good at is usually the fun stuff that doesn't take as long, and everything else just takes so long to do. Oh yeah, Deluxe Tux, you hit the same issue with Excel 97 2003. Excel 97 2003 this year. I would say something about that, but I kind of suspect I'm also using that exact Excel, maybe. Oh, Davoy, so you know more about the limitations of Adventure Game Studio. Zero math functions, no vector class, no shaders. Okay, yeah. Well, I don't know. And also another limitation that I do know is it's not really a seamless um, port to anything else really. I know things like Unity would be a better pick if you're looking to do cross-platform stuff. It's not really a priority for me, so it's not something that I'm that concerned about. But maybe in the future, I would like to release it on something else, and it's not really that simple, that easy to do. Although Eden Waith, who I don't know if he's here in chat today, he did the Mac port, and he said it was not too bad to do for Adventure Game Studio for Mac port. But that and doing something for the App Store for an iPhone is a completely other thing. Oh, the deluxe tux. Yeah, you work for the government, so you do have to make that backwards compatible. Yeah. So yeah, this week, in just I guess I don't know what kind of update this is, but on Monday I was invited as a guest speaker for the HomeTeam GameDev group or organization, and I'm going to put the links up right here. Yes, Jim plays games. Yeah, Wadget Eye Games has Android, and those were AGS. Yes, so yeah, it is possible. I haven't really spoken to Dave in too much detail about how that happens. Yeah, text parser on mobile, Davor, is so good. I was mentioning today, there's a game called Ladderhead, and I'm going to put that in chat, that I played this weekend. That's a text parser game, and I played the PC version. I did not play the app version, but there is an app version, but it's a text parser game you can play. And of course, I always like to link Adventure on itch on itch.io. There's a whole bunch of free games that you can play on your phone, And yeah, so I'm always such a big fan of Adventure On because text parser on your phone is surprisingly sweet, especially if the graphics are super simple. I want to eventually make a game like that with Adventure On at some point after this. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I was talking about Home Team GameDev, and I'm just gonna do a link to them. So what it is, yeah, it's a flexible team-based game development to learn how to basically how to build games in just every aspect of that, like production and art, music, programming, everything. And I didn't know anything about it really until I was invited to be a guest speaker for one of their courses or classes. And so I looked into it and I was really impressed. I got to sit in on the actual class and before I did my little guest speaker bit. The second link you see in that link is the podcast that they did, the podcast audio version of the talk and the chat that I had with Chris. Chris DeLeon is the head of Home Team GameDev. And I gotta say, when I see new stuff like this about, oh, really cool things that you could do as a game dev or learn to do more game dev, I think of all the reasons why it wouldn't work for me or my schedule. And it seems like he's anticipated those things and he's organized it specifically for people who have jobs and other things they need to do. So what's really great is you can choose your level of involvement. You can say, okay, I want to work maybe a couple hours a week and that's it. You can choose the roles that you want to do, and so it's all very um, tailored to what your level is. And there's like a vast library of resources on how to do those things. And as well, there are mentors, there are office hours, all this amazing stuff. It's a great community, and just watching them, show their games. Like they pitch games, they produce games. They've produced 85 games over the past 4 years, and they produce them on time to schedule. The games you keep your intellectual what is it? You keep your rights to your contributions in the games, and it's a really good industry experience to do it. And so, from what I've seen, I haven't really looked so much closely into it, but from what I saw from the website and seeing just the work that they were presenting, I was super impressed with it, and I kind of wish it was something that I had known about or had existed when I was getting started. But yeah, and also, let me see. Yeah, Adventure On is really cool. The Day of War. Now, this Home Team Game Dev, it does cost. It costs I think $17 a week. It's subscription based. You can cancel anytime, but it's one of those things where you get what you pay for, right? It's just that level of expertise that you're getting from these industry professionals, the responsiveness, the feedback. Like you're not going to get that for free, unfortunately. But yeah, I recommend looking into that more if you think it might be something that you'd be interested in because it was really super cool to see. Okay, and next thing, yeah, Jim, I'm gonna say like I was kind of skeptical too, as I'm always skeptical when I see something new out there. But yeah, you just it's really impressive. What systems do they use, Dave? Well, yeah, I don't know. See, I don't know. I don't know to ask those questions. I don't. Even looking at how they were presenting it, I would know what engine that was, but I don't because I'm not familiar with any entrance, any engines. No, it's not just to pay to work on teams. It's also the classes, the presenting, and you get like one-on-one support calls that are not that you don't pay anything additional for that. So it's a bunch of different things, as well as like a connection of a bunch of other people who are in that same boat as you are, which is also really good. And so yeah, I do recommend taking a look at it. If you think it's something you'd be interested in, they have a bit of a waiting list right now, so you'd have some time to think about it. There's no fee to apply, and you can cancel your application anytime. So I don't know. It's one of those things where might work for people, and I think it's been working for a lot of people. If you look at kind of their testimonials and stuff. Oh yeah, Dave. I don't know. Maybe if you can work on teams without the support stuff, I'm not sure about that. Like I said, I found out about it kind of fairly recently, and then I was just doing a little bit of homework, and then when I saw the class and stuff, I was like, this is really cool. And next, what I'm going to do is I know this is weird because it's like 20 minutes in, but I'm going to introduce myself in case there are people that are new to the stream, and I hope there are. Yeah, Jim, I'm glad you're checking it out. Yeah, some of the games are pretty impressive looking. I was impressed. I don't know anything about any of that stuff. And they were using Trello, which I've been recommended to use Trello to kind of keep tabs on my project and stuff like that. So they're using. I'm trying to kind of soak up as much of the information as possible, but it looked like super pro industry stuff. Yeah. Oh, I'm Julia Minamata. I'm making the Crimson Diamond, which is an EGA text parser mystery adventure game set in Canada. And I'm gonna just I'm gonna throw up the trailer really quick. So here's the trailer. It's an old trailer. I need to make a new trailer. And it's Adventure Game Studio, and it's a text parser game. So you can see all that kind of here. And yes, the speech portrait is the cross stitching project that I'm doing. I'm hoping to cross stitch a whole scenes eventually when I get big enough cloth to do that. Oh yeah, so Fura, you're gonna recognize a lot of people. Tanda, good to see you. Mad Robot Martian, hello, hello. Yeah, you're gonna recognize you might recognize a few names on that list of people, for sure. But yeah, this is all stuff that's in the demo. The demo is available on Steam, and it's available for PC and for Mac OS. The Mac OS port is thanks to Edenwaith, and I know zero about how he managed to do that. Uh, so yeah, so if you have any questions about how to port an Adventure Game Studio game to Mac, ask Edenwaith. I don't even know if he's here. But oh yeah, Dave, well, you've been using Trello you started to use it for household stuff. I hear it's really good. I've used it a little bit for like a contract thing I did like ages ago, but I wasn't really paying attention to everything. I was just looking at what I needed to do to get my piece in and not the overall big picture. But it does look really cool. Oh, Jim plays games. Thanks. Do you like the close-up character art? Yeah, that's why I'm doing these. And yeah, the lighting is really not good. But yeah, it's a fun little hobby to do. Eden Wraith. Yeah. Oh, and I just knocked over my Coca-Cola Tic Tacs. Never mind. Yeah, Deluxe Tux. Dan has offered to cut a new trailer eventually. So yeah, we're gonna hope to make that a thing. And he does want his logo up there. So we'll say Dan Emmy certificate holder, Dan Policar, and he also owns a Soundwave transformer, which I mentioned to Chris on the podcast that I linked to. I'll link it again. And of course, Chris thinks when I say Soundwave transformer, like it's a piece of audio equipment because I mentioned that Dan was a musician, and I'm like, no, it's a transformer, and I totally understand. Tika, good to see you. Thanks for coming. Yeah, Tada, yeah, Soundwave is the coolest, and Dan says he and I quote said, "Oh, as a musician, you kind of feel like you need to have Soundwave." So, yeah, um, Starscream. Yeah, and the soundtrack is made on a genuine Roland MT32, which Dan bought one. He's a maniac. So next we're gonna move on to. I told Dan I would do like half an hour and then we're gonna rate him, but of course I'm behind, as usual. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just jump quickly into Aseprite because I told you guys I was just completely ashamed of the the Aseprite the demo that I tried to do because everything I tried to show last time just failed, didn't work. Here is the carriage house. This is the interior cutaway of the carriage house. And here is the lovely 46 frame animation of Nancy climbing up there. And yeah, my question was at the top of the stream is should I make it so she can fall off the edge of the loft? I know what the answer is going to be, but I just feel like I have to ask. Yes, Devoir, onion skinning is working this time. Because I didn't turn it on, that's why it wasn't working, you know? That's the problem. Okay, so we're going to take a look at just the isolated figure, and this is the toggle for the onion skinning. How do you like that? So what you can see, you can just watch the... And it's a really helpful tool animators have to kind of see how smooth the animation is going to be, if they need to fix anything, if they need to adjust anything. You can adjust the settings for onion skinning here. You can make it in front of the sprite, you can make it behind the sprite, you can change the opacity of these things, whatever you like. So there we go. What's merge frames? Oh yeah, this is just to not to give it the red blue tint. So I guess red is for future frames or something, and blue is past frames potentially, or blue is future. Anyway, it's useful. It's useful. I have used it from time to time. So there is the onion skinning. Finally got it working. Okay, let's turn it off. Oh yes, Furore is calling for more Nancy blood. Okay, see, I'm completely not surprised by everyone saying that they want her to be able to just walk right off the corner of this hayloft and just take a dive. I understand. I felt like I had to ask. Yes, Aseprite is really good for that. Um, Future Frames would be a name for your chiptune band. Yeah, Tanda Gasa. I can do shoutouts now, Tanda. I'm slowly learning this. I'm slowly learning Twitch, and I can shout out Tanda. Tanda does retro game streaming and is also an artist himself. So definitely check out his stuff, his channel, and everything. Yes, I. Oh my gosh, Twitch is like a whole other beast. I gotta say. So that was the first bit of the demo that I wanted to show, the onion skinning. The second bit was Pixel Perfect. Now, when I demonstrated Pixel Perfect last time, I did not compare it to what it looks like when it's not Pixel Perfect, which kind of defeats the whole, example. But here's what you when you do Photoshop, when you have a 1 pixel large brush and you do curves. What you get is some areas where you might want to clean up some of these. You might want to take this and you clean that up, clean this up. So it's actually 1 pixel wide and it doesn't kind of bunch up like this. If you select Pixel Perfect and you try the same thing, it actually automatically cleans it up. Oh, it should. Oh, I didn't. Well, that kind of explains why I didn't. Turn on Pixel Perfect. And you do these curves, it automatically cleans up those sections, those corners. So you don't have to go back and clean them up yourself. And it's a really nice little time saver that I don't think Photoshop has. And if Photoshop does have this, please tell me. Hello, Gusak PT. Welcome to stream. I love seeing new names and new faces. This is awesome. Yeah, Jim plays games. You found Deaths in Sierra games to be unfair. Look at object, get killed. I agree, and I don't tend to make unfair deaths. There is a death that's outside of the demo where you can just walk into a waterfall and just, But I actually have the character stop and say, "Ooh, I better not get any closer to this waterfall." And then if you try again, then that's when it happens. I give you a bit of warning. And so with all the deaths, there is a little bit of warning. Like, I'm not going to just let her just walk right off this thing without that. I feel like I got to give the players a chance. Oh, Deluxe Text, you're against a death scene. A death in this scene, eh? Interesting. And just have no other character who happens to be in the same room just react at all. That's pretty standard. Oh, my camera's covering the part. Yeah, I'm demonstrating. I'm so sorry. Okay, so yeah, I'll do the Pixel Perfect thing again over in this corner because I know my head is in this corner. So yeah, Pixel Perfect. Turn it off. You get chunky curves like this, where you might want to clean it up. Turn on Pixel Perfect, and you get a beautiful, smooth. Well, smooth as it gets with this resolution, but you can see in these areas. You'd want to go in and go, okay, well, I need to get rid of that one. I need to get rid of that one. Clean this up. All this. Which can take quite a bit of time. But if you activate Pixel Perfect in Aseprite, you get this, which is wonderful. And a big time saver. And the last thing I wanted to show on Aseprite before, I'll have to message Dan and see if he's ready to get his raid on. But the last thing that I really like about Aseprite is this trim function. So here is just Nancy. And if I was going to save this as separate files to import into Adventure Game Studio, I wouldn't want to just have this vast space to import. I'd actually want it just to be her within the bounds of the whole animation from top to bottom to top. And you can do that with just one button press. If you go to trim, if you just turn on the sprite that you want, and you click trim here up in the sprite menu, what you get is you get exactly the bounds of the animation, nothing more, nothing less. And from there, you can export. So you can export as sprite sheets, import sprite sheets as well. I don't know anything about those, but I think I hear that that's useful for people, so it's good to know. And if you want to export, you can export this animation. You can export it as PNG files or whatever you want to export it to. And then what it will do is it'll say, okay, well, all the layers export, and say yes, and say, do you want to export the animation in 46 files? You can say yes or no, and it does that all nicely, which I appreciate too. So I have successfully demonstrated why I like Aseprite, finally. Because, yeah, I watched back the other demo that I did, and it just, nothing worked. And part of it was an audio issue too. I had Dan on Discord at the same time, so the audio wasn't good. Anyway, we have it now. We have it in the can, or whatever they say. Hey Pascal, good to see you too. Yes, Pascal knows about Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls. Mousimus, good to see you. There's always a secret behind the waterfall. I don't know. It's those adventure game tropes which are really hard to resist. I will admit that. And Froy, I was thinking about putting something in the haystack. I was. And let me just message Dan to see what he's up to. I've got one more thing I want to show before I throw it over to Dan, but I'm just going to check his status and see if he still has power and all that. Dan, you good? I Discord call you soon? Yeah. I also write the game if you can't tell. Okay, last thing I want to show is these earrings. I don't know if you can... the lighting no good. These earrings that I wanted them to kind of look like stone earrings, because I like the green against the red of the background, and I like to usually wear like warm colored tones. So I made them over the past couple days. And so what I wanted to show really quickly was the process of that. Dan hasn't got back to me yet. Dan, there you are, Dan. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm just going to show the process of making these earrings, and then we're going to get ready to raid you. DJ Mega Hammer, good to see you. Yeah, I still use Photoshop. There's still a few things that Aseprite bothers me and really frustrates me. I'm actually working on another animation for this section in Photoshop because I was getting... You know what? I don't know if I can show it. Oh, it's in the Open Recent tab. It is Jack. Jack has to get into this car. And it's driving me crazy because... So I have him isolated from the background, right? And, okay, well, he's usually got this dark blue color in his pants. And so I choose this color, and it doesn't... For some reason, it thinks that it's an eraser. And, okay, that was an eraser, but the pencil... Look, it's on pencil, and it's erasing it, and I don't know why. The dark blue is selected. Now, all the other colors work. Those are fine. Just this color doesn't. Yes, it's literally driving me crazy. Yeah. So I don't know why this is happening, and it might have something to do with this, but I tried to, put this all the way up like this, both of them, and I still try to do it, and now it goes black. So I don't know what kind of setting it is on or not on. Oh, of course. Sorry, guys. Thank you, you guys. Thank you for helping. My gosh. Okay. So back to Aseprite view. What I was showing was, yeah, here's the Jack. Here's the thing that I imported that I worked on in Photoshop. Driving Jack. And so I've got it here isolated from the background. And I wanted to, the dark blue that's in his pants is missing. So I'm trying to paint it in, but for some reason I'm on the pencil tool. All the other colors work. And, you know, I don't know if it has something to do with this, but I tried to change it so it is that. And I just... Anyone have any idea? Can't see what I'm working on. Oh, can you see what I'm working on now? It's because it's the first color in the index. The palette is locked. Okay. The palette is locked. Okay. Palette is unlocked now. Okay. Panel is unlocked. Can you guys see this? Hold on, let me... Oh gosh. I want to make sure that you're seeing what I'm seeing. Can you guys see what I'm seeing? Okay, good. You can see. Okay, good. Yeah, so so the panel is now unlocked. Okay, great. And so the other colors work except for the first color. So why does the first color not work? Anyone want to... It's this one, right? Looks unlocked. And it still is... It doesn't do that color. It very much doesn't do the color. And I just... The first color, and every time the foreground color, do I have to switch? So even when I switch it to the foreground color, now it does black instead. The first color is marked as transparent. Okay, so how do we... Yeah, I don't know why it's marked like that. How do I not make it that? Anyway, I'm not gonna like interrogate you guys until we get this fixed. I came across this as a thing, so I'm working on this one in Photoshop. I can't. Taking too much time. Can't. Must move on. Move the blue to another entry. Need to change the transparent index color. Move the blue to another entry. Hey Anna. Thanks for coming. No, you're not too badly late or anything. We're actually gonna raid Dan really soon. I tried for right clicking for options. I can't. I don't know. Maybe I can copy and paste it elsewhere. Okay, I've copied and pasted it elsewhere. Okay, now it works. Okay, fine. It works now, which is awesome. Thank you guys. That's a good solution. I've got the blue that I want. So for whatever reason, it wasn't working. It's working now. It is an edit preference. Think you can swap the blue with one of the black spaces. Transparent color is the project setting. Edit preferences. Okay, preferences, color. Okay, color. Anyway, it's. I now have somewhat of a solution. So now I will stop holding you guys hostage, and I'm gonna show the earring making thing, and then we're gonna move on. Art show. Okay. Great. So here is step 1 of making the earrings that I'm wearing right now, which are these ones. So what we have is some Primo, that's the brand, Sculpey Primo translucent clay, translucent polymer clay. Oh cool, thanks Pascal. I can see if I can open that. Oh, it's not going to let me. Okay, translucent polymer clay with, you can see there are a couple Jacquard alcohol inks. There's a yellow and there's a blue, and I custom mixed them together to make green alcohol ink. Green polymer clay. So what I did was I rolled out the polymer clay to a nice thin sheet. I added a few drops of the yellow and maybe a drop or two of the blue. Waited for it to dry a few hours, did other things. And then I mixed, I kind of mashed the dough together, or the polymer clay together, to get this nice green. Oh, someone's calling me. I think it's probably a scam. It says New York, but Dan doesn't call, so it's not him. Okay, next. Okay, stop. Okay. And the next step of that is this. So I formed them into these little balls, like little teardrop size things. It's not you, Dan? Okay, it was a scam. And so what I did was, you can see there's this metal ball here in the first slide, and the metal ball is there because I wanted to make them look like they got a bit of shininess. The polymer clay is translucent, but it's not like crystal clear. It's not like resin or anything like that. So what I did was I have these metal balls. So what I did was I formed around these metal balls this teardrop shape. Yeah, no, Jim, I don't remember phone calls. I don't even, it's just an unwanted feature on my phone. If one of the new phones came out with a feature that said no phone calls received, then I might take it up on that. And so I also did a stud section too, but I ended up making them way too big, so I didn't end up using for the finished. But you can see I've got earring backings and I've got like eye pins and stuff like that. From there, you bake in the oven according to the package directions, which for me was, I think, an hour at 300 Fahrenheit. And so what I have here is I've got a fine selection of different coarsenesses of sandpaper. So I've got some waterproof sandpaper here. I've got some of these other ones that are finer, and then I've got these buffing ones that are at the far area. And those ones are for like to make them really super smooth. And so what you get is the kind of like they look very matte right now, but if you prepare the surface well enough, you will be rewarded upon taking your Dremel, which is what I have, with a nice soft fluffy disc. If you yeah, here they are close up. They're pretty dull looking, but you can see the translucence of the clay. You can see that metal ball that's in there. And yeah, they did get a bit warped because there's probably a bit of air trapped on the inside of those. So next time if I try to make the same style, I'll make sure to pack these hollow beads with the clay instead of just baking them and letting the air be in there, because that's probably why they got warped like that. Okay, a day of war was under sprites, properties, transparent color. Okay, I'm gonna write this down. Sprites, properties, transparent color. Okay, this is Aseprite. Okay. And so what you get is, here is the before and after of with the Dremel. So you can see that left-hand side is as smooth as I could get it using, you know, sandpaper, progressing through sandpaper and the buffing disc things. And then you can polish it to like pretty much a mirror shine with the Dremel. And it's very, very, very satisfying to be able to do this. Yeah, Deluxe Tux, I love the color green too. And it's really satisfying to do this. Polymer clay, even when it's baked, is very soft. And that's a good thing when you want to polish it to something to this level of shininess. It's not a good thing for something like if you want to wear it in a bracelet, for instance, because it will get scuffed up pretty easily. But for earrings, which, you know, are not going to see a lot of wear and tear, I think it's perfectly fine. So here is, this is after buffing. The lighting's not that great, but here's after the buffing for each. And I also have something called Renaissance wax, which is a crystalline wax that I guess people who do museum preservation and stuff like that, they use. It's very like non-reactive, and it's really good for giving it a final finish of shininess and a nice smooth, just give it that extra touch of smoothness to that surface. And it actually it follows that same tradition. There is a tradition of oiling gemstones. You might have heard that emeralds might be oiled and other gemstones might be oiled, and that is to improve their finish, and it's to kind of give them extra shine, and a bit of a layer of protection as well. So that's what I kind of did here. And here is the finished product. And so the blue upper part is my experiment in trying to make lapis lazuli with polymer clay. And so you can see I've used clear polymer clay that you can see some clear chunks still in it. There's some fake gold leaf in here, and I used alcohol ink to color it blue, and then I polished them up. I had these on hand anyway, and I kind of like the color. Yes, Ferrari, you heard geology rocks. Very nice. Very nice. I appreciate that. But yeah, you can see, you know, it gives it because the light's going in through the translucent clay, it's reflecting off the metal ball, and it's giving a better impression of a kind of a luminance, very subtly. Ban Ferrari for puns. Yeah, I gotta say I'm not the biggest pun fan. Oh yeah, and so I've got some art stuff I'm going to show, but I'll show that with Dan. We're gonna get going with Dan. But yeah, I'll intersperse a few breaks from what Dan is. I'm sure Dan is going to get a lot of work done today, so we're going to have breaks for him. If he works too hard, we'll show some of my artwork on his channel. Slat Studio, geology jokes have their faults. Bum bum. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it, Skibby Wonder. You like the game, needlepoint earrings. I love crafts. I was actually looking online for like green semi-precious stones I could use like this, but it's kind of hard to find, like a particular shape, and the size is actually it's pretty large. So with a polymer clay, I can make literally any shape I want, and it's a lot of fun to just do something custom. So no puns in Crimson Diamond. I wouldn't say that, but I kind of use them sparingly. Are they light, Stevie Wonder? They're not the lightest, but they're the polymer clay when you bake it, it's pretty light. It's actually fairly flexible as a medium. But if this was a stone of this size, it would be much heavier for sure. And my problem is I like big earrings like this. I like color, but I don't like when my earlobes get dragged down. I'm not a fan of that. But unfortunately, when you get to this size, and if these were actually gemstones or semi-precious, they would be super crazy heavy. Deluxe Ducks. Is it possible to write a text parser game without at least one pun? You doubt it. I somewhat doubt it too. But I think Dan said he's ready. So I don't know, Dan. Do you want to? I guess we're gonna do your raid, and then you can call me on the Discord. You can do it that way. So, and I know Dan is live, so I'm gonna get this raid started. Dan, good, cool, you're here, great. Okay, so Dan is the musician for the Crimson Diamond, and he is a Soundwave owning, which is the Transformer. He owns the original Soundwave, and he's making the music for the Crimson Diamond, and he's using a genuine Roland MT32 to do it on his completely of his own volition. So we're going to set up this raid now, and I think we're going to work on riffs of the theme tune, because there are a couple stages in the game where the game progresses, and I would like a bit of a musical indication that happened. So I think we're going to do some riffs on that on the theme music. I'm going to get that set up. Thanks you guys for coming to stream. I'm glad I got to show you the stuff I wanted to show. And actually, I'm going to just drop another link to HomeTeam GameDevs again. I haven't used them. I haven't worked in their courses and stuff, but they seem like a really, really cool organization that is flexible and can work around your lifestyle if you want to learn more about game dev and the different aspects of that. Tika, I love that emoji. I love the flag heart thing. Okay, and last but not least, I want to drop. I'll drop Dan's links too while we're just getting while the counter goes down. Dan is awesome. He showed his Grammy nomination. No, yeah, his Grammy nomination certificate the other stream, and so he's not interested in that, but I was, and so he didn't really tell any stories. He just showed it and then put it away. But maybe if you ask nicely, he'll show it again. I don't know. Oh, I guess the raid happened. Did the raid happen? Good.